What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the remote front office. Today, we are going to, now the dust is settled, go into my top 5 players for this year's MVP award. But before we go into that, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn those notification bells on. We are on our way to 20 subs. Again, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 6 p.m. Central Time on this channel here. But let's go ahead and get into it. Of course, a couple of quick little asterisks, caveats, whatever you want to call it, right? The NBA did put in a rule that it is now minimum 65 games in order to be considered for an award. So some guys that you would normally hear on this list are not on this list. For example, LeBron, I don't think he'll play 65, or there's a chance he doesn't play 65 games. Anthony Davis, again, another chance he doesn't play 65 games. Steph, it's kind of hit or miss on as far as Warriors rest if he has a major injury. John Morant will not be on this list because of his suspension, automatically disqualified, right? So the first guy, we're going to go from, I don't know if it's bottom to top, but kind of just where I think they'll end up stacking up, right? The first guy I'm going to have is on a team that was a play-in team last year. And that's going to be SGA. I think every year SGA has made a leap. I think his team has gotten better this year. Obviously, Chet is in his rookie year, so I don't know if we can necessarily say that, obviously, having Chet automatically makes them a title team or anything like that. But I think the leap this team takes, along with the leap that SGA takes, I think that puts him at least maybe for like the first couple of months or towards the end of the year, maybe he makes some sort of push. But either way, I think he has a stint where he is in this sort of conversation for MVP, right? Guy number 4 is going to be Devin Booker. I think Devin Booker is probably the most likely guy out of the Phoenix Suns group to stay healthy. I think they'll probably be a fairly high rated seed as far as like a top 2-3 seed in the West. And Durant, I don't think plays 65 games, so I don't really count him. And then Bradley Beal, I think his numbers dip from what we're used to. So I don't know if you can have Bradley Beal win an MVP award if his numbers are dipping, right? Also, Devin Booker's just gotten better every year, right? So I think all those things combined, I think that puts Devin Booker in a prime position to go ahead and at least have his name in this conversation, right? Next guy, speaking of kind of the team's going to be really good. There's a lot of buzz around him right now, especially with the Jrue Holiday trade, and that's Jason Tatum. Again, I think Tatum makes a leap. I think the Celtics are pretty clearly, as of right now, a top 2 seed in the East. And I think especially now that he's going to have to be a little bit more of a leader, I think that puts him in the storyline part and the stats part of being the potential candidate that the Boston Celtics would have for their MVP candidacy, right? And then the top 3, really, I feel like you can put these guys in any sort of order. But at number 3 for me is going to be Joel Embiid. The reason is he just won it this year, so I think he's due for an award kind of wears off a little bit, which then therefore means that just kind of the traction around him, and now with all the Harden speculation, I think at that point, Embiid kind of takes a back seat. Also, Embiid hasn't really been injured the last couple of years, and he, at least to start his career, was pretty injury riddled. So I think maybe there's a setback there. And I think all in all, that kind of puts everything around it to where he's at least in the conversation, but maybe he doesn't finish top 2 like he has the last couple of years, right? At number 2, I do have Nikola Jokic. He just won a ring. I don't know necessarily. There tends to be some teams that kind of come out with that championship hangover, maybe get off to a slower start. I think he still puts up good numbers, but maybe Denver doesn't have as good start to finish of a year as they did last year. And I think maybe that hurts his MVP chances a little bit and ends up ticking him down to second place. But I definitely could see him winning this award at the end of the year, right? And my number 1, in my mind, who is the most likely candidate to win the MVP award this year, is going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo. A couple reasons for this. I think his defensive numbers take a jump, which could put him in more Defensive Player of the Year votes, which just kind of puts him in more of the storyline. Obviously, acquiring Dame puts a huge spotlight on this organization. And I think, again, they are pretty much deadlocked with Boston as far as top 2 teams in the East. And if Giannis comes out, has a really good year, and really shows that he's head and shoulders above everybody else in the East, and say they win 65 games or whatever it is, I think that really puts him in a prime position, especially with just the storyline behind him and Dame making this championship run. I think that just puts him in a prime spot to end up being mentioned for most likely to win the regular season MVP award this year. So that's my top 5. Let me know below if you guys have a different top 5 or any guys that you think I missed. And we can talk about it, whether I think they'll play enough games or whether I think they're actually in this race. One guy I will say, Luka didn't make this list because his team didn't make the playoffs last year. I can't have a guy that didn't make the playoffs all of a sudden be MVP this year. It just doesn't work for me. So that is my list. If you guys have any other thoughts below, leave them below, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.